When you look at the history of the Baldur's Gate franchise, there is one thing that stands out above all the other things, and that is the richness of the companions, the storylines, the romances, the dialogue that you can have with those characters, as well as the banter that all of these characters have with each other. When we look at the difference between, say, the Baldur's Gate franchise and the Icewind Dale franchise, the thing that made Baldur's Gate so exciting and so much fun was the companions. All you have to do is go back and look and read up on the reviews of Baldur's Gate 1 and 2 when it, and all the awards they won, and one of the most common themes you're going to see listed amongst the mechanical achievements and programming achievements is the richness of the storylines of the characters that you meet along the way. And as good as Baldur's Gate 1 was, Baldur's Gate 2 stepped things up a notch with the diversity and amount of companions you have. And while in Baldur's Gate 3 it looks like we're taking a step kind of back towards the first game with the amount of characters that we're going to be having with us on our journey, I have found throughout 3 years of early access that the characters in Baldur's Gate 3, these companions, are absolutely hands down some of the best I've ever seen ever in any game. And I'm going to be breaking down my favorite companions in today's video, as well as the ones that I'm going to be going through the game with. Now, worth noting, because this is the early access pre-launch edition, the character of Wyll has been rewritten, and they've done additional new, dialogue and mocap and all this other stuff. That was mentioned during the showcase from Hell. So the version that we've seen throughout early access is going to be changing. We don't know exactly what that means yet. And of course, there's also Karlach, who I don't actually have access to yet because she's not in the early access as a playable companion that can join your party. But we do, of course, have Lae'zel, Astarion, Wyll, Shadowheart, and over here in the corner is Gale. And I'm going to be going through my favorites, why they're my favorites, and also which ones I'm going to be running through the game with on my first playthrough as well as my second playthrough, and why. So without further ado, let's jump in. Before we do, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon so you never miss an update on all the Baldur's Gate 3 guides and live streams we do. And don't forget to check out the Discord so you can check out all the things we do beyond just YouTube. Let's go. Every party needs a good magic user, and Gale has proven to be my favorite companion throughout the entirety of early access so far. The way this character is written, the way he's always got a little quip ready to go, a little joke, a backstory. This guy has seen a lot, he's done a lot, and even though he has a mysterious sort of past, dark passenger sort of, we don't know what's going on with him exactly. All we know is that he likes to eat blue magical items, which sucks because we need those blue magical items to have good equipment, but he likes to eat them because of whatever is stirring inside of him. The story he gives about, the tavern, and he's talking about, buying everyone a round of drinks and everything. Whenever things look exceptionally dire, Gale is there to make your party laugh. And the voice acting is absolutely top-notch along with the writing for this character. Now, he is a wizard of no small talent. I really love everything about Wyll. He looks really cool. He's a handsome fellow, you gotta admit. And even just a basic robe, he looks really, really cool. I am absolutely doing my first playthrough with Wyll at my side. I will not be romancing Wyll. He's just going to be a faithful companion, probably my best friend. We'll see, you never know. My first playthrough is going to be a wood elf druid, and he will be joining as our human mage to go along with this. He's got pretty decent stats, but I think for me the most important thing here is just he's a handsome fellow. And he's funny. Everybody needs a good friend like Gale at their side, and hopefully as we continue to unlock his mysterious past, we'll be able to figure out exactly what makes him tick. And when it comes to the origin characters that I might eventually play through, I think Gale is going to be the one that I do first, because I'm going to go through as my custom character the first time I go through the game. The second time through, I'm going to be doing a Drow Sorcerer. Probably the third playthrough is when I'm going to look at doing one of the origin characters, and Gale is going to be the one that I pick. Because I just love his story, and I want to find out more. I want to know what it is in his past that happened, and I can't wait to see the cutscenes that make it unique. The Cleric with the Forgotten Past. A dark past, given that she worships Shar. Shadowheart is my second favorite character, and she is going to be the main romance option for me on my first playthrough. We've already seen a little bit of this in the early access. I really like her storyline as you slowly earn her trust and get her to open up to you, because initially she is extremely standoffish, and I think rightfully so, given that her memories were taken from her and she has to deal with the artifact that she's carrying and needing to get that back to Baldur's Gate and try to get her memories back and everything else. It's complicated because she's technically, I mean, I don't want to say evil, but maybe. It's an interesting conundrum because she is someone who's extremely, she just doesn't trust anyone. And I think she's probably had some traumatic stuff happen to her in the past that makes her so untrusting of other people. But her character has been exceptionally well written, and I just like the way that she comes across in terms of someone who, as you slowly earn her trust, she begins to crack some jokes with you. She begins to chuckle a little bit. She begins to sort of show you that she's more than just the darkness that Shar might bring to the table. And I think for me, this is a character I'm probably going to go through the game with every time because she is a cleric, unless I decide to go with Halsin for heals, which may happen at some point down the road. But I see Shadowheart as being one of the characters that I take through every single time, even if I potentially only romance her the first time through the game. But she's been really cool through early access. I love the different armor styles, the way they look on her character model. It's really cool. And just overall, she's a little too, I don't want to say evil, but she's definitely got that sort of me first attitude that can be a little grating sometimes when you're trying to be a chaotic good character like I like to be when I play through the game. But that makes her all the more interesting to me because it's like, can I fix her? Can I change her? Can I, let's see where this goes. So Shadowheart, absolutely my second favorite character through my early access playthroughs, and she is going to be coming with me on my very first playthrough as the romance option. What can I say about Lae'zel? When I first played the early access 3 years ago, her character really turned me off. I wasn't sure if she was ever going to be somebody that I could take through the game with me because she's just way too aggressive, and she's got that Githyanki superiority complex, and they're just so foreign to everybody else here in the realms of the Forgotten Realms that it seemed kind of impossible. But as I've played through early access multiple times with her, and I've earned faction with her, and I've seen the way she reacts to various scenarios, I've learned that there's a lot more going on with her character. I think she's probably the best acted after Gale's character from what I've seen, like the voice acting and the mocap and everything else, and the writing that they've done with her. She's extremely interesting, and it's hard to sort of, I think it's really hard to do a character like Lae'zel because she's so foreign. It's not like your traditional, elves, half-elves, dwarves, halflings, gnomes, and so on and so forth. The Githyanki have traditionally been the enemy. Anytime you've played the Baldur's Gate 2, if you've ever played Baldur's Gate 2, the Githyanki are definitely not to be trifled with. And, yeah, they're happy to just cut your head off. And she's absolutely happy to cut your head off in this game. I was very surprised that they included the Githyanki as a playable race. And over time, I will also say that Lae'zel's character model, I initially didn't think that she looked that cool, and then over time she's got a little bit of a pug nose going on, but she is kind of hot when she gets angry, and that's kind of one of the things that's drawn me to her, is that she is, ultimately, at the end of the day, I feel like there's just this sort of kind of, I don't want to say scared, but there's definitely something inside of her because of the tadpole that makes her less than the typical fearless Githyanki warrior, even though that's what she strives to be. And I'm very, very interested to see how she's going to play out over the course of the full campaign, given that I'm going to be playing a chaotic good character throughout. Now, with Shadowheart, I'm going to be romancing Shadowheart the first time I go through the game, and she seems less sort of evil than Lae'zel. But at the same time, Lae'zel isn't really necessarily evil. It's more along the lines of just being completely foreign to this world and viewing everyone as beneath her. So it kind of comes off as neutral evil. I don't know that that's actually the case. But I'm really looking forward to seeing where I go with her. Now, I probably am going to be taking her with me on the second playthrough as well. I'm not entirely sure of that, but my second playthrough, I plan to do a Drow Sorcerer. So it makes sense that I would bring her with me, given that the Drow is probably going to be a little more neutral than good, and she's just a great fighter. I mean, she really is an awesome character, and especially once you like hit level 5 and she gets double attack and all the things that she can do. I've ran with her as an Eldritch Knight, and it's an amazing class for her, and I just really love the character. I can't wait to see where this character goes. What's up, everybody? Quick commercial break here to give it a shout out to our guild champions, who are the highest tier memberships here on YouTube: Ancient Entity, Assassin Gamer 94, Bubbleonia Rising, Crazy's Relative, Mujin, and Remedy. Thanks so much for the highest tier membership, and thanks to all of the members who support the channel, because you keep me doing this full time. You too can become a supporter if you're new here. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon so you never miss an update. Join as a member. There's 3 different tiers. We do lots of special stuff: private polls, private videos. You get a shout out if you're the highest tier membership, but you can also do one-off donations in the form of super chats on any live stream or premiere you see, and of course super thanks on any upload or YouTube short. Whatever you can contribute, it's great. Keeps me on the air full time, keeps the cats fed, keeps the homestead running. Anyway, back to the video, everybody. Now, I'm not going to be covering Astarion and Wyll in today's guide, because this was all about breaking down my favorite characters, and Wyll and Astarion are probably not going to be in my first 2 playthroughs. Well, at least I know that Astarion won't. But I think that Wyll could potentially be once I see how they've redone his character. He's a little too arrogant for my likings from what I've seen so far, and Astarion is just a little too over the top. I know a lot of people disagree with that, and that's okay. I could see Astarion being a fun character to have in my party if I was going to be playing an evil playthrough, because he kind of does some crazy stuff. Wyll, you know, at least the way he's written in early access right now, I never really found him to be that interesting. Just because of the way he was written. He just wasn't somebody that came across. So my first playthrough is definitely going to be my Wood Elf Druid, and I'm going to be having Lae'zel, Gale, and Shadowheart while romancing Shadowheart. The next time I go through the game with the Drow Sorcerer, I'm going to be playing with Lae'zel, Shadowheart, and Karlach, who I'm planning on romancing on my second playthrough. Now, the third playthrough, you never know, you know? If I do something like Gale on the way through, maybe I bring Astarion and Wyll along with me. I don't know exactly who I'm going to be bringing on that third playthrough yet, but these are the ones that I like so far on my launch list. I've really enjoyed exploring all their nooks and crannies, nudge nudge, wink wink, throughout the early access. I can't wait to adventure through the game with Lae'zel, Shadowheart, and Gale in that first playthrough. So hopefully you're along for that ride with me. In any case, everyone, that is my list of favorite characters, breaking down the companions that I'm going to be playing through on my first playthrough through the game, what I've really enjoyed through early access. I'd love to hear your thoughts. What are your favorite companions so far in early access, and what is the build that you're going to be going through with? What is the combination of companion characters that you're going to be taking with you through the first game? Because that's part of the fun of Baldur's Gate 1 and Baldur's Gate 2, was the replayability. Coming back, doing the game a second, third, fourth, and fifth time with completely different characters in your party, and seeing all of the different interactions and romances and banter that could happen between the characters. Because it's been great, like Lae'zel and Gale going back and forth at each other, Lae'zel and Shadowheart in particular. I'm really interested to see how that pans out over the course of my first campaign, especially as I romance Shadowheart. Looking forward to hearing from you guys what you think is the best combination and what you're looking forward to running with. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon, and I'll see everybody in the next live stream or video. Don't forget the Discord. See you next time.